The cafeteria incident. Isabella Tran, 17, sat alone in the far corner of the cafeteria, same spot, every day. She wasn't waiting for anyone. She didn't want company. Some students came to school to stand out. Isabella came just to make it through. Her head was down, eyes on her sketchbook, pencil moving quietly as she drew a scene from the library, the only place in the school where she felt like she could breathe. She wore the same soft blue sweater again, the one she had saved for weeks to buy. It wasn't about fashion. It made her feel safe, like nothing could touch her. She didn't look around, didn't respond to the noise. She had trained herself to blend in. That was the point. She didn't hide because she was scared. She hid because attention never ended well. And over time, being invisible started to feel like control. No one asked questions. No one mocked her. No one noticed her at all. That's exactly how she wanted it. Or at least, that's what she kept telling herself. But while she sketched, unaware of anything else, someone had started watching her. A few tables over, jokes were being made. Plans were already forming. Isabella had no idea her quiet space wasn't hers anymore. Not today. And the worst part? The moment she'd remember for years was just seconds away. Isabella didn't see him stand up. She was too focused on her drawing. The lines of a window frame, the curve of a bookshelf. Her world was quiet. But just a few tables over, Trevor Cole had already turned his chair to face her. He leaned back, stretched like he was bored, then nodded toward Isabella without saying her name. His friends followed his gaze. They all grinned. Still hiding under that ugly sweater, one of them joked. Trevor didn't laugh. He just smiled, slow and mean. He was the kind of guy who didn't need a reason to mess with someone. Just a target. Just a moment. And right now, Isabella looked like the easiest target in the room. She was alone, head down, not paying attention. That was all the invitation he needed. Trevor stood up slowly, brushing invisible lint off his shirt like he was about to do something important. His friends watched, waiting for the show. He didn't say a word. He didn't need to. He'd done this before, too many times, and no one had ever stopped him. He walked toward Isabella's table like he already owned it. Like whatever he was about to do wasn't just allowed, it was expected. And the worst part? Not a single person even tried to stop him. Trevor reached Isabella's table without her even noticing. She was still in her own world, darkening the edge of a book's spine in her drawing, the pencil soft against the page. No one warned her. No one called out. They just watched. He stood behind her for a second, just long enough to let the moment build. His smirk widened. He looked at his friends. They were already grinning, elbows nudging each other. This wasn't random. This was routine, a move they'd all seen before. Without a sound, Trevor leaned in and grabbed the back of Isabella's blue sweater. Then, quick and sharp, snapped her bra strap against her skin. Crack. The sound was small but vicious. Isabella jolted forward. Her sandwich slipped from her hands and landed on the table. Her sketchbook tilted. Her pencil rolled to the floor. She didn't scream. She didn't move at first. She just froze, like someone had cut the cord between her body and her mind. Then came the laughter. Not from Trevor. Not yet. But from the nearby tables, sharp, stupid, echoing. The kind of laughter that doesn't come from something funny, but from watching someone break. Her face turned red so fast it looked painful. Her hands curled into fists, but they didn't move. She sat there, breathing fast, eyes wide, heart racing, completely stuck. Trevor chuckled behind her. "Relax, Tran," he said, loud enough for people to hear. "It's just a joke." She didn't answer. She didn't look at him. She just stood up, grabbed her tray with trembling fingers, and walked out of the cafeteria without saying a word. She didn't rush. She didn't run. But she was gone within seconds. And no one followed her. No one said her name. No one helped. Her pencil kept spinning slowly on the floor until it finally stopped, right at Trevor's foot. He picked it up, looked at it, and dropped it back down like it was trash. The sketchbook stayed open on the table. The library she'd been drawing was now smeared with part of her sandwich. A place of peace ruined, just like the moment. And in that entire crowded cafeteria, not a single person asked if she was okay. Isabella didn't stop walking until the hallway was empty. She turned the corner, pushed open the bathroom door, and headed straight into the last stall. The moment it clicked shut behind her, her whole body collapsed. She didn't cry loud, just sharp, broken breaths, short, fast, painful. One hand pressed over her chest, like she could hold something inside from shattering. The cafeteria was still ringing in her ears, not the noise, but the laughter. She sat on the closed toilet lid and pulled her knees up. Her tray was gone. Her sketchbook was back on the table, probably ruined. Her pencil, she didn't even remember dropping it. She bit down on her sleeve, trying not to sob out loud. Her shoulders shook anyway. And in her head, one thought kept coming back, again and again. Why didn't I do something? Why didn't I say anything? It wasn't the pain that hurt the most. It was the silence. Her own. She hated herself for freezing, for not fighting back, for letting it happen like she always feared it would. She had told herself that being invisible kept her safe. But it hadn't. He still saw her. He still chose her. And no one, not one single person, stood up for her. Her hands gripped the sleeves of her sweater tighter. The same sweater that was supposed to protect her. Now it just felt like a reminder that no one protected her at all. Mr. Jameson had seen a lot in the school's security footage, food fights, cheating, even breakups. But nothing made him pause like what flashed across the top right screen that afternoon. He was reviewing footage from lunch, a stupid argument between two boys over pizza, when his eyes caught something in the background. One girl, sitting alone. A boy walking up behind her. Then suddenly, snap. The camera didn't have sound, but he didn't need it. The reaction said enough. She flinched like she'd been slapped. Her hands shook. Her face fell. Then she stood up and walked away, shoulders tense. Jameson leaned forward, hit rewind, then play again. Then again, slower. The way the boy grabbed her sweater, the movement, the intention, it wasn't innocent. It wasn't a joke. He didn't know her name yet. But he knew that expression. He had seen it years ago, in the last school photo of his niece. He sat back in his chair, staring at the screen. The cafeteria had gone back to normal. People were laughing, moving around, like nothing had happened. But he couldn't unsee what he just saw. Some people watch footage to catch trouble. Jameson watched it so trouble couldn't hide. He saved the clip, renamed the file, and copied it to a separate folder. Then he stood up and walked straight to the principal's office. The next morning, Isabella was called to the principal's office. When the notice came, her stomach dropped. She thought maybe someone had complained about her walking out of lunch. Maybe the teachers were tired of her being weird. She walked in slowly, notebook clutched tight against her chest, like a shield. Principal Hernandez sat behind the desk. Mr. Jameson stood off to the side, arms crossed, not angry, but serious. She didn't sit until they told her to. Didn't speak until they asked. Isabella, the principal said gently, we want to ask you about something that happened in the cafeteria yesterday. She froze. Her fingers tightened on the edge of her notebook. She didn't want to talk. She wanted to disappear. Again. She shook her head, barely. It's fine, she mumbled. I don't want to make a big deal out of it. Jameson stepped forward. It already is a big deal, he said, voice steady. We saw what happened. On the camera. Her eyes lifted. That sentence hit hard. We saw him grab your sweater, he said. We saw what he did. You didn't do anything wrong. And just like that, she cracked. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just one tear. One shaky breath. I didn't think anyone would care, she said. Jameson's tone didn't change. We care, he replied. And we're going to do something about it. For the first time in a long time, she nodded. Just once. But it was enough. She wasn't invisible anymore. Trevor didn't look nervous when he was called to the office. If anything, he looked annoyed. Like he was being pulled away from something more important. His two closest friends were with him, still joking about something as they walked down the hall. When they entered, Principal Hernandez motioned for them to sit. Mr. Jameson stood near the monitor. No smiles. No small talk. Trevor leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. So, what's this about? Jameson didn't answer. He just clicked play. The video showed the cafeteria. Isabella at her table. Trevor walking up behind her. The snap. The flinch. The laughter. Her leaving. And then the room went quiet. Trevor's jaw tightened. One of his friends shifted in his seat. No one said a word. Because for the first time, they couldn't twist it. The footage didn't lie. That, Mr. Jameson said, is not a joke. Trevor tried to speak. I mean, come on, it wasn't like, no, the principal cut in. That was a physical violation of another student. You targeted her. You humiliated her. And it's on record. They all looked at the screen again, as if it might change. It didn't. This wasn't just school discipline anymore. This was real. Jameson's voice was firm. We've contacted your parents. And the police. Trevor's face changed. The fake confidence cracked. Wait, the police. Are you serious? Yes, the principal said flatly. You're being reported for harassment. And that video will be part of the case. His friends didn't laugh now. No one moved. The same boys who ruled the cafeteria had just learned what it felt like to be powerless. And Jameson? He didn't even look at them. He just closed the file and turned off the screen. 2 days later, they came during third period. 2 officers walked in through the front office, calm but direct. Word spread fast, faster than gossip, faster than any announcement. By the time they reached the main hallway, half the school already knew what was about to happen. Trevor and his 2 friends were pulled from class. No warning. No time to explain. Students leaned out of doors. Phones went up. Some recorded. Most just watched. The boys didn't argue. They didn't yell. They just walked in silence as the cuffs clicked on. For the first time, there were no smirks. No jokes. Just 3 boys who looked like they couldn't believe this was real. Isabella stood at her locker when she heard the commotion. She turned her head, and for a split second, Trevor looked at her as he passed. No words. Just a flash of something in his eyes. Surprise, maybe. Or regret. But she didn't look away. He was no longer the boy who owned the room. He was the one being removed from it. The hall stayed quiet long after they were gone. Students whispered. Teachers stood still. No one had ever seen anything like it before, and no one forgot it afterward. That day, the story left the cafeteria. It became school-wide. It became real. And Isabella, without saying a word, had just changed everything. The cafeteria wasn't loud anymore. Not like before. The noise was still there. Trays, chairs, voices, but it wasn't wild. It wasn't sharp. It had changed. And so had they. Isabella walked in just like she always did. Head down, sketchbook tucked close, same blue sweater. But this time, something was different. People moved out of her way. Not awkwardly. Not out of pity. Just quietly. Naturally. The table she always sat at was empty. No one had touched it all day. As she walked past the center tables, eyes followed her. Some students looked at her like they were seeing her for the first time. A few nodded. One girl, who had laughed during the incident, didn't meet her eyes at all. Isabella didn't say anything. She didn't need to. She wasn't invisible now, and for the first time, it didn't scare her. She sat down, opened her sketchbook, and picked up right where she left off. The page was clean again. The lines smoother. The drawing quieter. No one interrupted her. No one mocked her. And no one dared to test what would happen if they did. The cafeteria still echoed. But the sound had changed. It wasn't full of power anymore. It was full of warning. That night, Isabella sat on her bed with her sketchbook open in her lap. Her backpack was on the floor, untouched. Her phone buzzed once. She ignored it. The house was quiet, but her mind wasn't. She flipped through the pages slowly, one drawing at a time. The library. The corner table. The window light. Places she escaped to when the real world felt too loud. But today, even those safe places felt distant. And then she reached the page she had started the day it all happened. It was smudged, not from her pencil, but from the sandwich that had landed on it. Still, the outline was there. She stared at it for a while, then turned to a blank page. This time, she didn't draw the library. She drew herself. Not slouched. Not hiding. Not at the corner table. She drew herself standing. Hair loose. Chin up. Eyes forward. Not angry. Not loud. Just still. Still and unafraid. She didn't draw the sweater. She didn't need it anymore. When she finished, she stared at the page. And for the first time, she didn't second-guess the lines. She didn't erase or edit or change anything. She wrote 2 words at the bottom of the page, still here. Then she stood up, walked to her closet, and gently picked up the blue sweater. She didn't put it on like armor this time. She just wore it because it was hers, because it no longer reminded her of what happened. Now it reminded her of what she walked through and came out of standing. She looked in the mirror, and for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel invisible. She felt real. She felt strong. She felt like herself. She didn't ask for justice. She became the reason it happened.